There's something about Boards of Canada's music that makes it almost impossible for anyone else to copy them. But I love their sound so much I couldn't resist the challenge, so I set out to recreate my favourite track of theirs, Aquarius, to get as close as I could to their unique sound and work out exactly how they do it. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how this kind of processing chain is the key to their iconic textures, how Aquarius uses far more samples than you'd think from a 60s musical to Sesame Street, and how you can get that Boards of Canada style sound in seconds with a drag and drop Ableton rack that I'll give you for free. So let's have a look. Let's start off with the pad. This really drove me crazy because I couldn't get as close as I'd like. This is what I've got. The secret to their sound is just a ton of processing, and I actually believe that they couldn't probably recreate exactly this because it's just, when you have a certain amount of steps, it kind of becomes impossible. This is what I've done. You can get this rack for free, hit the link in the description. This is what it sounds like without the rack. So we have a G flat minor, E flat minor, back to the G flat minor, and then a B. So there are the chords, and then this patch is very simple. I did experiment with a few different soft synths. I heard that they used a Jupiter 4. But in the end, I kind of got the closest with basically a Juno 106, which I'm using my trusty Model 84 from Softtube. Really simple patch. Using the pulse width with a very thin pulse. Using the saw as well, tiny bit of noise, and then nice soft attack to get this. Also quite long release on that, and a bit of chorus. So then we've got this chain, so let's go through it one by one. So if you're stuck with your own music and you're not sure exactly why, I've created a quiz to help you really identify what you need to work on to break through the barriers and get making the music you always wanted to make. So if that sounds good, click the link in the description for that. Evidently they use a lot of hardware and they wouldn't have done this all in software. So I start off with an auto filter. And at one point I did resample this, but instead of doing that, I've just got a regular rate on the LFO. It's like 2 bars. And I can play with this. So that's doing a lot of the work actually. Then we've got some extra chorus. And I'm adding quite a bit of kind of drive, what they call warmth. And it's giving it already that kind of aged vibe. Then using Redux on this vintage sampler setting. I think this is just a preset. Then EQ, taking out a lot of the highs and boosting the low mids. I think I need to move that up. Then a bit of echo. I'm not using a synced delay, I've just done it by kind of feel, and I'm using this character to add noise and wobble. That gives it like a tape wobbled kind of feel to get that tape vibe. Then a bit of reverb. And then finally, I'm just reducing the width. I think actually the width on the chorus of this Juno, it's very wide. And if you listen to the track, actually, it's more contained, and that's probably to do with what kit they were using, but I've just used the utility to reduce the width. But it's quite a dramatic difference from that to that. And as I say, you can get this rack free, link in the description. So what I didn't realize about this track for years is that it's actually all built around a sample, and in fact the very name of it is the name of the track they sampled, Aquarius, which is from the musical Hair. It's a really good track, and I think this is a live version of the track. This is what it sounds like. That's a lot of the track is in there, so we've high passed that. And I did try with the bass, because the bass line is from this as well, but I found if I tried to just boost the bass in one and take off the high in one, it didn't sound that good. So I actually recreated it, and we'll look at that in a moment. This use of samples is something that you wouldn't naturally immediately think of Boards of Canada. Well, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think of them as quite synthy and stuff, but actually samples are such a big part of their sound. In this, you've got this main sample, then you've got the amazing Sesame Street samples.
Yeah, that's right.
Orange.
And shout out to Scott from my course who dug out some of these that I don't think were on, who sampled. Also this.
Orange.
And these just add so much atmosphere to the track. So the bass line is a really good example actually of just groove in a bass line. So just the length of the notes has such a big effect on the groove, and I love this little bit. So... and I've actually low passed this quite a lot. It's using a sample in Ableton. So I'm taking out a lot of the mid, but then also actually a lot of the low end, a lot of the high end. Such a great bass line. It kind of carries the tune so much, along with the beat. So I have to admit, I'm cheating a little bit here. But yeah, I used La 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 to basically just extract the beat, and it really sounds to me like they've either used a sample pack or even just sampled a hip hop break, but not just a drum break like from a funk record, like a whole break. Listen to this and tell me what you think. Now, of course, it's perfectly possible that they did create this themselves from scratch, but I doubt it. It just sounds, I don't know, too complete and too full in and of itself. So I'm really hoping one of you might recognize this, because I'd love to know if they have sampled it from a hip hop record, but it just really just sounds like a hip hop beat to me. All the little layers you can hear in it. And it's a 4-bar loop, because in the second bar you get this little high. Da, da. So hopefully you can let me know where that's from. And that's mostly what goes into the first half of the tune. And it's such a cool loop that it's just kind of happy to groove along. Not a lot changes, because it's so rich. The texture's so rich because of the sound design in the pad, really, and just the beat and the bass work so well. We get this little subtle shaker sound coming in here. And I'm using the clip envelopes to just cut it off here. It came! Desi, I'm recording now. My son's very happy. His saw has arrived from Amazon. So yeah, this isn't exact. I've just got something that's kind of similar and used this clip automation to get the rhythm. Hi, love. Wow, what's that? A costume?
Yeah.
Cool.
Princess costume.
Wow.
I buy it. Mom said yes.
Cool. But yeah, I scoured Sesame Street a bit to try and find more things like this little thing. I'm sure it's a sample from a TV program somewhere. And I kind of did start to recreate it with a synth, but it was just too much. But yeah, I'd love to know if you think you recognize any of these things that I didn't get.
Orange.
Then we get another drum break coming in, and I have to confess I used La 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 for this as well. Again, I don't know where they got those drums from, if they programmed them themselves. Then we get a whole key change in the track, so we get different chords. I love this little MIDI monitor, and I don't know it off by. So we change to B flat major, F major, and A major. So we're going from all minor chords to all major chords. The bass line changes, not so dramatically. Well, quite dramatically actually. But this stays in, so it's quite interesting that this is kind of changing key from being in B to being in A flat, and sorry, A sharp. But this is staying the same. I think partly because the information we're hearing from this isn't really the note information, it's more the percussion and the little bang, bang, bang. And that does resolve the same. It goes to the B here. It's not too important if we change key in the first half because we come back into the key in bar 3.
1, 2, 3.
So the final part of this track to talk about is the counting, and I think we probably all had the same experience when it comes in and you're like 1, 2, 3, okay, how long are you going to keep counting? And then it's like 10, 11, 12, you're like, really? And then it's like up to 30. And it's just creates so much tension. I think it's such a simple idea, but so effective. Like, it's just brilliant. Again, I wasn't able to recreate this. I believe from my research that they actually recorded someone doing this, so it wouldn't have been possible for me to find the sample. So I used La 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 again, and it did a pretty good job. So let's just have a listen to that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And you can hear the voice is panned. If you're listening in stereo, the voice is panned. They move around the stereo field nicely.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
And there are some kind of theories about the numbers they're using and some kind of occult meaning, which you can tell me all about if you know about it. And then finally, we have like a little, maybe you could call it a coda. People will probably correct me on that and say that I'm wrong, but like a little end bit that's a bit different. And I've cheated again with the drums. It's not so much the programming that would be hard for me to do, it's just finding the sounds, and also time is a factor. Honestly, I spent so long on the pad sound really trying to nail it and not quite succeeding, annoyingly. But yeah, we have these drums and the pad, and then and we do have a little other sound that comes in, which I've made in Repro 5. I just edited this patch a little bit And then we've got little chops of the drums. I know this is one of the Sesame Street samples. And then little snippets of this drum break along on the top of this break. Download the Ableton Rack for free down below and do the quiz if you're interested. And if you want to see me go the deepest I've ever gone into a track, check out this video in which I go back to Song of Life and really try and get 100% of the detail down. I'm really proud of what I did with this, and I think you get a lot out of it.